I thought it would be fun to see how frugal a 50-year-old menu would be to make a meal from 50 years ago. Now, I'm going to date myself and I am going to actually feel really old right now. 1970 was 50 years ago. Oh my goodness. So we're just going to go with that. So this is my Pillsbury Family Cookbook. It is a beautiful, gorgeous cookbook. It was printed around 1969, 1970, and it has some great recipes. So I thought, let's recreate a meal from the book. I'm going to do a potato and a meat. So I think we're just going to keep it basic. So the first recipe I am going to make is a layered meatloaf recipe. And what I thought was neat about it is, if you can see in the picture, it's got a layer of like stuffing in the middle that you make homemade with some soft bread cubes. So I thought this would be really neat, and it calls for 1.5 pounds of meat, and it's 6 servings, so this should be perfect. I'm going to make some maple candied sweet potatoes. I have some whole sweet potatoes, and we're going to put these in the oven. And with the meatloaf, I think this is good. God bless you, Dixie. It's going to be an amazing meal. Let me just show you this cookbook a little bit. It's packed full of fun pictures. You know, when you think of 50 years ago, I never think of it as the 70s, but it is. So it's just got some great recipes. Look at this candy. Oh, maybe we should do some of this for Christmas. What do you guys think? That would be really fun. So anyway, let's get started and let's have some meatloaf and sweet potatoes. So I cut my sweet potatoes, which are really large, in half. My son is here for dinner. It's Tuesday. All I did was mix 3 tablespoons of melted butter with 1/4 cup of maple syrup. This is one of my items that we spend a little more on, but I do use organic pure maple syrup. And now I'm just going to pour this over. And then what they say is to baste it throughout the cooking process. So I'm going to stick this in a 350-degree oven for about an hour, and I will cook it alongside the meatloaf as well. So we'll put them in at the same time. I picked this meatloaf because, like I said, it has a layer of bread in the middle. And I thought that was kind of a neat thing. It would stretch the meat and almost be like having a bun with it. I don't know. We're going to try this. It was popular in the 70s, so hey, we're all for it. Okay, so I have got 1.5 pounds of ground beef. To that, they call for 1.5 teaspoons of salt, so I am going to give it a little salt, but probably not as much as they're saying to. 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. Okay. And then 1 egg. A 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. And a 1/2 cup of milk. I am going to add something that they did not say to add, but I am going to add a dash of French's Worcestershire, just because, well, we like Worcestershire in our meatloaves, but you definitely don't have to do that. Now I'm going to take my potato masher and just give it a little mix. You don't want to overmix this because then it makes the meatloaf dense. Okay. I do have a meatloaf pan, but you can put it in any 9x5 pan. It says to take half the mixture, which I'm going to do. This looks about half. And I am going to put it on the bottom of the meatloaf pan. Because I don't want to press it down because this pan has holes in it. And then the meat will go right through the holes, and that's not what I want to do. So I'm just stretching it out a little bit. All right, we have our first layer. Now we're going to make the stuffing. We still have the half the meat mixture. Now, the dressing calls for 2 cups of soft bread cubes, which I used white bread. We had some like soft white bread, and this was actually 3 pieces. To that, I'm going to add an egg, but I am going to wash my hands because I touched the meat. So 1 minute. All nice and clean. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of celery to that. It called for minced onion, but I don't have any minced onion, so I'm just going to add some onion powder. Probably about 1/2 teaspoon or so. It also called for a tablespoon of melted butter, which I'm adding that, and then a little salt, not too much, a little pepper. And we're going to combine all these ingredients together. So what I'm going to do now is take this and put it on top of the meat. Are you all with me? I hope you're still with me because this is going to be so fun to see how this is going to come out. So we're going to put that on top. Now I'm going to have to use my hands as much as I don't want to because it feels kind of yucky, but okay. And I want to make sure nothing is going down below the meat. Okay. And now I'm going to take the rest of this meat and put it on top of our dressing. The good thing, it's not like cheese where it's gonna leak out. So I'm not really worried about that. So that's a good thing. And then they show red sauce on it. I'm assuming that's ketchup. You can put that on at the end. You don't wanna put that on now. So I am just going to stick this in the 350 oven with the sweet potatoes for 1 hour. I didn't want the potatoes to get ruined. I noticed when I put them face side up, they were drying out and they just didn't look good. So I turned them face side down and I've been basting them. Now these were completely scrubbed before I cooked them, just so you know. But I turned them over and I put them face side down and I'm basting them this way. And they seem to be doing a little bit better. It just didn't make sense. They were facing up and I would baste them and everything was just rolling right off of it. So we're trying it face down and we'll see how this goes. The picture in the book just showed ketchup on top, but we're gonna make a little bit of a barbecue sauce. So I'm just gonna make my own sauce. I eyeball that. It's a little bit of ketchup. We're gonna put literally a tiny little bit of vinegar. I'm using red wine, but any kind of vinegar. And then I am just gonna put a little tiny splash of some mustard and a little bit of brown sugar. And I'm just gonna mix this. Just a taste. Perfect for on top of the meatloaf. Oh yeah, good flavors. Just simple, little homemade barbecue sauce. The internal temperature of our meatloaf is 163, so I'm going to put that barbecue sauce on top now and then just let it sit for another few minutes. So this looks great. Now I'm just gonna put this on top. We're gonna just put this on and put it back in the oven to just for about 5 minutes. I am so curious to see how this is gonna come out. Okay, that's all there is to it. A little glaze on top, stick it in for another 3 to 5 minutes, heat it up, and then we'll taste. So the sweet potatoes came out beautifully. I did them face down like I showed you, and oh my goodness, they look amazing. Just have a simple green salad. Now here's our meatloaf, and now we're going to see the inside of this meatloaf. Okay, you can see it right there. Let me get an inner piece so you can see it really well. Always make sure you let your meatloaf sit for a minute too, so that everything stays nice and juicy. You can see that layer in the middle. This looks amazing. We wish you bon appetit, our 1970s meatloaf, sweet potato, and salad meal. Dixie loves it.